You've reached the United Kingdom. Your call is important to us, but unfortunately, so is everything else that's falling apart.
I have no concerns. I don't give a shit about anything.
Do you know why I've never wanted to leave a country so bad and so fast in my entire life?
The UK is heading for an economic crash. What do you say?
You know, the UK is all right, so long as you don't get sick, have an accident, need to get on a train, need heating or affordable food.
Purchasing crisps may affect your life insurance rate. Proceed?
Yeah, just take my soul too while you're at it.
Sorry, love, your liver score is at 67%. Alcohol privileges are suspended until Monday.
Sorry, love, your digital ID declined condoms because you've thornicated too many times this year, and would you like paracetamol instead? My tolerance for idiots is extremely low now. I used to have some immunity built up, but obviously there's a new strain out there.
Time for a cuppa.
Energy spike detected. Please brew responsibly.
Are they bloody serious?
Congratulations, citizen. You've earned 1 free medical consultation by staying within your sugar limits. Appointment estimated to be in 38 months.
We hope you're having a productive deposit.
Oh yeah, thrilled. Best part of my day.
Sarcasm detected. Flush denied until you affirm your gratitude for our waste management system.
Subscribing is now a legal requirement. Failure to like or comment within 10 seconds will be logged as emotional apathy.
Now, I'm not one to often go into politics. Not publicly, anyway. However, a few things have happened in my own life recently, and I've just thought, my God, I'm so bloody pleased that I have an online business, because rather than give any more money to the UK government, I'm just going to go somewhere else and have what I need done. So let's break this down. I, as a taxpayer, pay nearly 200 quid a month council tax. My bins are so overflowing that today I had to not just go in double pack, because I did that yesterday. I had to go in triple pack my bin liners because the dustbin men have not come and taken it away. That's something I pay for in my council tax. They also, this week, did not take away the recycling, because apparently there was a teeny little square of aluminium foil from when we were cooking the barbecue, and they wouldn't take it away. So instead they left it all over my gravel drive for the pigeons, the cats, and God knows what else to pick at. That was the first worst part of my week. I'm sitting there thinking, why the heck do I pay council tax? Had a little bit of a tooth problem and a throat problem. I phoned up the doctor. You can't get an appointment for the next month. I'm sorry, I'm seeing everywhere on the news that people that don't even pay council tax here, people that are not even registered as British citizens, are getting weekly appointments. Can you tell me why I'm having to wait behind those people when I pay council tax? And I'm a taxpayer. We can't discuss that. I'm like, why not? I'm paying to the government a service that you're providing. Why can't you discuss it? Who should I discuss it with? Anyway, I then had to not go and see a doctor. I had to go to the pharmacy and see the pharmacist. And the pharmacist said, we don't have the level qualifications, or we don't have the expertise and the qualifications to deal with what you have. You need to book in with your doctor. I said, I've already tried that. So that went round a few times. Today, I phone up my dentist and I say I've had a problem with my mouth, I've had a problem with my throat. Apparently it might be something to do with my teeth. Oh, wow.
Welcome to Blighty Blighted, your daily reminder that the UK isn't just struggling, it's slowly sinking. You can feel it now. This country isn't standing still, it's going under inch by inch, like a ship where everyone argues about the paintwork while the water pours in. People can't save anymore. Not properly. Not honestly. Savings accounts are a museum exhibit. You're lucky if you make it to the end of the month without dipping into what little you've got. Rainy day fund? Most people can't afford a drizzle. Wages disappear the moment they arrive. Rent takes one bite, bills take another, food finishes the job. By the time you've paid for the basics, there's nothing left to get on with life.
paid for that, and you're telling me I can't have it, and now you're telling me if I want what I've already paid for, I have to pay another 80 odd quid for. So what else am I going to get? They said, well, nothing, you're just going to get an appointment. Jeez. Then in between all of that, the council phoned me back up, and I said, yeah, you need to come and get these bins like before the weekend. These are not staying like this for another 2 weeks. I said, and also, your bin men broke the lid of my bin, and I now have no lid, which is why the pigeons and God knows what else, the seagulls, are pecking at the bags. They said, oh, you have to buy that. I said, why do I have to buy it? I didn't break it. They said, well, that's because you didn't report it within a week. I said, I'm just going to break this down for you very, very clearly. I pay council tax. If you employ people that break the bin lids, that's not for me to pay. Oh, yes, it is. That's £45. I kid you not. Not only did I laugh down the phone, because otherwise I would have said quite a few things today that I would normally not say to people on the phone. I went, you know what? F this. I'm just going to go and see how much this is going to cost in France. I say that because I know France very well and I speak the language. A consultation in France is going to cost me €23. That's about 18 to 20 quid. Not the £85 I was quoted in the UK. Then, if I want to go and stay in a little hotel and maybe have some nice lunch, it's not going to cost me 120 quid, which is what it cost me for 2 meals in a pub in the UK with drinks last weekend. I have to say that in France, the bins are collected every single day at the end of the road. It doesn't matter what the hell you've put in there because we all know it goes to landfill anyway. And I most definitely, as somebody who has 9 brands, that pays their council tax, that understands what 1 and 1 plus 2 is, I'm not going to have to grovel to some man that can identify that the bin is full, so I need to empty it, just because he's got a high-vis vest on and works for the council. Like, do not insult my integrity. Do not. So, for any of you that are fed up with the situation in the UK, taxpayers or non-taxpayers, quite frankly, the UK's fucked. It is absolutely fucked. It doesn't matter if you're on benefits or if you're not. When I had to listen to what I had to listen to today, absolutely insane, lucid type of explanation on how someone is going to try and charge me not once, not twice, but 3 and 4 times for something I've already paid for because of the state of the UK. I'm like, okay, well, you keep the UK, I will take my money and I will go to another country because I work online or my income comes online. Trust me when I say the UK is a sinking ship.
And after travelling Thailand for the month, that's exactly what I've decided that I want to do. I want to sell everything that I own and I want to eventually move out of the UK. I've set myself a 3-month target because I just...
But you don't care what happens next?
No, I don't care what happens next because caring doesn't change anything. This country is going downhill at the present time and it will continue to go downhill. It's such a shame, but we're over the peak, a bit like the Roman Empire. It went over the peak and it was gone.
Oh, you think this is the tail end of Great Britain's greatness?
Oh, definitely that.
I say yes simply because of the facts. The facts are that inflation is still high. Food inflation has increased yet again this month. And what we also know, unemployment is soaring and worryingly, thousands of people, entrepreneurs are leaving the UK. They're going abroad because they have no faith and confidence in the UK economy. Well, in addition to that, what we also know is that business confidence is collapsing and consumer confidence is pretty beige. What's next? I suspect a house market crash. What do you say? Are we heading for the economic crash? Yay or nay?
Please listen carefully as our menu options have recently been updated to reflect the latest national disasters. Press 1 if you'd like to report a crime, unless it's an actual crime, in which case we're fully booked until 2037. If you posted something mean on Facebook, however, police will be with you shortly. They're probably already there. Press 2 if you need the NHS. Your estimated wait time is 6 to 18 months. If this is an emergency, please hang up and try not to need anything. Press 3 3, if you'd like to ask why our borders resemble a nightclub with no Arsenal's playing downstairs. Press 3 if you'd like to ask why our borders resemble a nightclub with no bouncer. Press 31 if you want to apply for housing. And by that, we mean good luck. You'll never get it. Unless, yeah. Press 4 if you're calling about UK schools, including but not limited to drag queen story time, pronoun worksheets, all that pesky little Valentine's cards send out to adult refugees initiative that we had going. We also offer therapy for parents who are asking, is this a prank? Press 5 if you're wondering where your tax money is going. Spoiler, not to you. Press 6 if you're stuck behind eco-protesters glued to the M25. Please remain calm while we send someone with olive oil and a spatula. Press 7 if you'd like to complain about the government. All our agents are currently busy complaining about the government. Press 8 if your heating bill is now more expensive than your rent. Please have your bank card ready as we will charge you for the call, which is meant to be free. Press 9 if you're simply calling to say what the actual fuck is going on. Don't worry, we're all asking the same thing. Thank you for calling the UK. We apologise for the inconvenience, but we really should apologise for everything. Beep!
This country is fucked. So I very rarely, or probably never do political posts on this channel, right? But what has this country got to do to get this fucking government out of office? How can somebody or a party stay in power when they go against every fucking manifesto commitment they give? And you turn on every single one of them. Keir Starmer's ratings are the lowest ever. When will things change? At what point does it change when this fucking dickhead gets out of office? Today's budget is a shit show. All the fucking fuss that these governments have put into getting everyone in electric vehicles and fucking stopping fossil fuels and all that, and now they're taxing per mile on electric vehicles. What the fuck? You just can't make it up. This is just an absolute shit show, right? The amount of increases for taxes for working people and everyone else that's going to struggle, where billions are being paid for illegal immigrants to come into the country to get fucking pampered in a fucking hotel with a full-on buffet and a party. I don't know if you've seen that. Full-on parties. Well, British people struggle. All these billions of money that's being sent to every other fucking country, Ukraine, Afghanistan, Iran, billions. And nothing goes to the British people. It's the British people that get fucked over. And no, I'm not racist. No, I'm not far right. Although I am leaning more right because I am fucking sick to death of this left-wing fucking socialist government who just does not give a fuck about British people. Enough is enough. Things have got to change. At what point does this country fucking stand up to get this cock out of office? To everyone that voted Labour at the time, we knew it was going to be a mistake. And Rishi Sunak warned us exactly what was going to happen, and it's happened to a T. So, the good thing to come out of this is hopefully the people that voted Labour will never fucking vote for them again. That's the one good thing. Something has to give. Something has to... Why can't the king come in and fucking stop it? Because this country, the whole country has had enough. His ratings are fucking shit. They are fucking done. And I tell you what, I'm done. Because if I could fucking move out the UK tomorrow, I would. What a fucking joke this country is.
Is Labour phobia is rising massively in the UK. It's a huge problem. It's what happens when someone says one thing but does something completely different. So let's take that as an example, right? Is Labour phobic? If that's something you're even allowed to say, would they ban you from saying it? Would that be discriminatory? So if you are looking at Labour, say for example on Sky News today, they said to a guy, that when Labour came into power, unemployment was 4.1%. It's now 5.1%. Has unemployment increased under Labour? There's the statistics. He said, no, we're producing more jobs. So 180,000 people more are unemployed at the end of the year than they were at the beginning, and Labour have created more jobs. that makes me Islamophobic. All right. When they say they are going to grow out of this and the budget is there in order to grow the economy and millionaires flee and businesses shut down and lay people off, that makes me Islamophobic. When Keir Starmer, every time Keir Starmer comes on TV, I'm Islamophobic. Guys, let me know what you guys think in the chat. Is this a problem? What is Islamophobia anyway? Let me know what your thoughts are. And ultimately, what I'm trying to say here, guys, is when people say one thing and do something completely different, we hear with our ears and see with our eyes, and we use our brain, we can work out that something isn't right and we become fearful. Now, that fear isn't there just because you're hateful of the person. That fear isn't there because you're racist or you're right wing. That fear is there because your brain is telling you that your way of life is at threat. That what you love and the things you find important and precious are going to be taken away by someone who doesn't have the same values as you. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Take care.
If it wasn't for London, the UK would be basically bankrupt, it'd be broke. I mean, London is everything. And pervasive throughout the nation, within the population, is this ambient malevolence. If somebody's doing well, others want to pull that person down. And that's the UK. It's not a place for prospering. It's not a place for entrepreneurial endeavours. And I just think, how did we get to this? Do you know, there's so many millionaires that have left this country in the last few years who are not coming back. The net immigration figures, 900,000 plus, it's not 900,000 like-for-like replacement. It's probably more like 500,000 really entrepreneurial, creative, intelligent people leaving, going to better places like Dubai, being replaced by 1.4 million immigrants who have got low-paid jobs, if that at best. The entrepreneurial, creative nature of this country is slipping away, and this ambient, malevolent spirit is always there, that it's easier to destroy than it is to create. And so therefore, crime is up. Everything is up, even on the London Underground. I mean, the statistics are incredibly bad. Crime on the Underground alone was up 50% in 2023-24. And the figures are bad everywhere. And yet, on this day, Sadiq Khan, the announcement is that Muppet is going to be receiving his knighthood. Sir Sadiq Khan. That's Britain. Britain without London as its economic centre. It's nothing. And it's slipping down. Happy New Year.
Every day I see some video against Islam, against Muslims. People want to create these vigilante groups to so-called defend their country because they say there's too many immigrants, and naturally the Muslims will get attacked. Like today there was a woman who got punched by a man and he ran off, and she was a hijabi woman. So what happens is that these things will become common occurrence because the government policies is angering the locals. The government policies of bringing in mass immigration is a ploy to create civil unrest because the UK economy and the European economy is going down, is going to collapse. So they need scapegoats, and what better way than to bring in a mass influx of immigrants to become the scapegoats. And this is what Muslims need to understand, that we're on a sinking ship. There's no coming back to normal in the future. Is going to get worse. So those who can should try to migrate out of UK because there is no future for your children. You know, there's nothing there. In fact, things will just get worse before they're going to get any better, which is not anytime soon.
In the next 24 months, Britain is going to face a series of cascading crises that will fundamentally change what it means to live in this country. And the terrifying part? Most people think I'm being dramatic. They think the UK has survived worse. 2 world wars, the Great Depression, the 70s, the financial crisis. We'll muddle through like we always do, except this time is different, because what's coming isn't one crisis we can solve. It's 6 simultaneous breakdowns happening at once, each one feeding into the others, creating a downward spiral that has no obvious exit. And by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly why the next 2 years will determine whether the UK remains a first world country or slides into managed decline, so severe that your children will look back and ask, why didn't anyone do something? But here's the thing, by the time most people realise how bad this is, it'll be too late to protect yourself. The window to prepare is right now. Today. Not next year when the evidence is undeniable and everyone's scrambling. Make sure you're subscribed to UK Economy Report, because what I'm about to reveal isn't speculation or doom-mongering. It's a systematic breakdown of 6 interconnected crises that are all converging at exactly the same time. And if you understand what's coming, you can position yourself to survive it. But you need to see it clearly first. Let me start with something that happened last week that should have been front-page news, but barely got mentioned. The UK's credit rating was downgraded by Moody's from AA to AA-. That might sound technical and boring. It's not. A credit downgrade means international investors look at the UK government and say, we're less confident you can pay back your debts. It means borrowing costs go up. It means less foreign investment. It means the international community is losing faith in Britain's ability to manage its finances. This is the same country that used to have a HOA credit rating, the gold standard, impeccable creditworthiness. Now we're sliding down the ratings ladder while the government insists everything's fine. That's not fine. That's a warning sign. And it's just one of 6 major structural problems all coming to a head simultaneously. Let me introduce you to the 6 crises. And as I walk through each one, I want you to understand, these aren't separate problems. They're interconnected. Each one makes the others worse. That's what makes this situation so dangerous. Crisis 1. Economic stagnation. The UK economy has barely grown for 15 years. Since the 2008 financial crisis, GDP per capita has essentially flatlined. We're the only major economy where real wages today are lower than they were in 2008. 17 years, and the average worker is poorer now than they were then. That's unprecedented in modern British history. Productivity growth, the key driver of long-term prosperity, has completely stalled. UK productivity is now 20% below France and Germany. 20%. That means a French worker produces in 4 days what a British worker takes 5 days to produce. We're falling behind our competitors, and the gap is widening every year. Business investment is the lowest in the G7. Companies look at the UK and decide to invest their money elsewhere. Factories get built in Poland, not Birmingham. Tech hubs emerge in Berlin, not Manchester. The capital that should be modernising the British economy is flowing out to countries that offer better returns and more stability. Why does this matter? Because without economic growth, everything else collapses. You can't fund the NHS without growth. You can't pay pensions without growth. You can't maintain infrastructure without growth. An economy that doesn't grow is an economy in decline. And we've been in decline for over a decade. Most people just haven't realised it yet because the decline has been gradual enough to normalise. Crisis 2. Demographic collapse. This is the one nobody wants to talk about because the implications are so dark. The UK birth rate has collapsed to 1.49 children per woman. That's well below the replacement rate of 2.1. We're not having enough children to replace the current population. You might think, so what? Less people means less pressure on housing and services. Wrong. Catastrophically wrong. Because the population isn't shrinking evenly across age groups. Young people aren't having kids, but old people are living longer than ever. What you get is a rapidly aging population with fewer and fewer working-age people to support them. Right now, there are approximately 3 working-age people for every pensioner. By 2040, that ratio will be 2 to 1. By 2050, it could approach 1 to 1. Think about what that means economically. One worker trying to generate enough tax revenue to support one pensioner's state pension, NHS care, and social services. It's mathematically impossible. The system collapses. Japan is already experiencing this. Their economy has stagnated for 30 years because they got old before they got rich. South Korea's birth rate has fallen to 0.7. Their society is heading toward demographic extinction within a century. The UK is following the exact same trajectory, just 10 to 15 years behind. And before you say immigration will solve it, understand this. We'd need net immigration of roughly 1 million people per year, every year, indefinitely, just to maintain the current age structure. That's politically impossible. The public won't accept it. But without it, the demographic math doesn't work. Crisis 3. Infrastructure decay. Britain's infrastructure is literally falling apart, and there's no money to fix it. The water system leaks 30% of all water before it reaches homes. Victorian-era pipes are crumbling underground. Water companies have extracted billions in dividends, while investment has been minimal. We're now facing a situation where major cities could face water shortages within a decade, not because of climate change, but because the pipes physically can't deliver the water that exists. The road network needs approximately £14 billion in immediate repairs just to fix the backlog of potholes and structural problems. Local councils don't have the money. Roads are degrading faster than they can be patched. In 10 years, large portions of the UK road network will be functionally unusable without massive investment that isn't coming. The rail system is a complete disaster. Aging trains, outdated signals, infrastructure that needs replacing. HS2, the high-speed rail project that was supposed to modernise British rail transport, has been cut back repeatedly and might never reach its original destinations. Meanwhile, France, Spain, Japan and China have built thousands of miles of high-speed rail. The electricity grid isn't ready for the transition to electric vehicles and heat pumps. If even 30% of cars go electric in the next 5 years, the grid will struggle to handle the load. We need massive investment in grid infrastructure, new power generation, and smart metering. That investment isn't happening at the necessary scale. Hospitals are literally crumbling. The NHS maintenance backlog stands at over £11 billion. Roofs leak. Heating systems fail. Operating theatres have to close because the building isn't safe. These aren't third world problems. This is Britain in 2025. When your infrastructure decays past a certain point, the cost to fix it becomes prohibitive. You enter a doom loop where you can't afford to fix things, so they degrade further, which makes them even more expensive to repair, which means you definitely can't afford it now. Several sectors of UK infrastructure have entered that doom loop, and there's no clear path out. Crisis 4. Social fracture. British society is fragmenting in ways that are genuinely alarming. Regional inequality has reached levels not seen since the Industrial Revolution. London and the South East versus everywhere else. The wealth gap, the opportunity gap, the life expectancy gap. They're all widening. A child born in Blackpool has a life expectancy 10 years shorter than a child born in Westminster. 10 years, same country, different postcodes. That's not a developed nation. That's a society that's failing huge portions of its population. Trust in institutions has collapsed. Trust in government, parliament, the police, the media, the NHS, all declining sharply. When people lose faith in the institutions that hold society together, those institutions stop functioning properly. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Political polarisation is intensifying. Not left versus right in the traditional sense, but leave versus remain, young versus old, cities versus towns, graduates versus non-graduates. These divisions run so deep that people in different groups literally cannot understand each other's worldviews anymore. They're operating from completely different sets of facts and values. Social cohesion. the glue that holds a nation together through difficult times, is weakening. During World War II, Britain endured incredible hardship because there was a shared sense of national purpose and mutual obligation. That doesn't exist anymore. If serious economic hardship hits now, there's no reservoir of social solidarity to draw on. Just competing groups fighting over a shrinking pie. Crime is rising, particularly violent crime and shoplifting. Police numbers have been cut. Detection rates have collapsed. For most property crimes, the police don't even investigate anymore. They give you a crime reference number for insurance, and that's it. When the state can't provide basic security, private security flourishes. We're seeing the beginning of a two-tier system where wealthy areas have private security and everyone else just accepts higher crime as the new normal. Crisis 5. Energy vulnerability. Britain's energy security is genuinely precarious, and most people have no idea how dependent we are on systems we don't control. North Sea oil and gas production has declined by 75% since 2000. We're now a massive net importer of energy. When European energy markets spiked in 2022 and 2023, British consumers saw their energy bills triple because we're completely exposed to international gas prices with no ability to control them. The government had to spend tens of billions subsidising energy bills to prevent complete economic collapse. That vulnerability hasn't gone away. We've shut down most of our coal plants. Our nuclear capacity is aging and scheduled to close over the next decade. We're betting everything on renewable energy and gas imports. If there's another international supply shock, or if key import infrastructure fails, Britain faces genuine energy shortages. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve has been run down. Energy storage capacity is minimal. There's no buffer. We're operating on a just-in-time energy system where everything needs to work perfectly all the time, or we face blackouts. And here's the really concerning part. The transition to renewable energy requires massive amounts of copper, lithium, rare earth minerals. Britain produces almost none of these. We're completely dependent on global supply chains, primarily from China, for the materials needed to build wind turbines, solar panels, and batteries. If those supply chains get disrupted for geopolitical reasons, our entire energy transition stops. Crisis 6. Geopolitical isolation. Britain's international position has weakened dramatically over the past decade. We've left the European Union, our largest trading partner. Trade has declined. Investment from Europe has fallen. The frictionless market access we once had is gone, replaced by paperwork, delays, and costs. Our relationship with the United States is changing. For 70 years, the special relationship meant Britain had privileged access to American power. That's declining. The US is pivoting to Asia and is less interested in European affairs. Britain's usefulness as a bridge between America and Europe has evaporated now that we're not in Europe. We're trying to build new trade relationships with countries like India, Australia, and Asian nations, but we're a medium-sized economy negotiating from weakness. We need these deals more than they need us. That means we make concessions and get less favourable terms. Military capacity has atrophied. The British Army is now smaller than at any point since the Napoleonic Wars. The Navy can't maintain its ships properly. The RAF has ageing aircraft and recruitment problems. We're still a nuclear power, but in terms of conventional military force, Britain is a shadow of what it was even 20 years ago. Britain's soft power, its cultural influence, remains significant. But soft power doesn't protect you when hard security challenges emerge. And with conflicts escalating globally, being militarily weak while geopolitically isolated is a dangerous position. Now here's where this gets truly terrifying. Each of these 6 crises would be manageable on its own. Economic stagnation. Painful, but solvable. Demographics. Difficult, but addressable. Infrastructure. Expensive, but fixable. Social fracture. It's been worse before. Energy vulnerability. Challenging, but not impossible. Geopolitical isolation. We can adapt. But all 6 happening simultaneously, that's when you get systemic collapse. Because they're not separate problems. They're interconnected and mutually reinforcing. Economic stagnation means no tax revenue to fix infrastructure. Crumbling infrastructure makes the economy less competitive, causing more stagnation. Demographic decline means fewer workers and less consumption, worsening economic stagnation. Social fracture prevents political consensus on difficult reforms needed to address economic stagnation. Energy vulnerability makes industry less competitive, further damaging the economy. Geopolitical isolation means less foreign investment, making economic stagnation worse. It's a doom loop. Each problem makes the others harder to solve. And we're trapped in it right now. Let me show you what this looks like in practice with a real example. Northern Ireland's power grid nearly collapsed last winter. A combination of aging infrastructure, increased demand, and supply constraints brought the system to the brink of total failure. If the grid had gone down, it would have taken days to bring it back up. Hospitals would have been on emergency generators. No heating in homes during winter. Businesses shut. Food spoilage. Economic devastation. They managed to avoid it through emergency load shedding and appealing to businesses to reduce consumption. But it was terrifyingly close. And here's the key point. All the factors that nearly caused that collapse are still present. Nothing has been fixed. The infrastructure is still aging. Demand is still rising. Supply is still constrained. It's going to happen again, and next time they might not be able to prevent it. That's not just a Northern Ireland problem. That's a preview of what's coming to the rest of the UK as infrastructure decay, energy vulnerability, and lack of investment converge. Or look at council bankruptcies. Birmingham isn't some unfortunate anomaly. It's the leading edge of a wave. Dozens of councils are on the brink. When a council goes bankrupt, it stops providing non-essential services. Libraries close. Youth programs end. Roads don't get repaired. Parks aren't maintained. Social care gets cut to the legal minimum. The places that become unlivable first will be the ones with bankrupt councils and declining populations. Young people will leave, taking their tax revenue with them. This makes the council's finances worse. More service cuts follow. More people leave. The doom loop accelerates. We're going to see parts of the UK essentially abandoned. Ghost towns where anyone with options has left, and anyone remaining can't afford to leave. This isn't speculation. It's already happening in parts of the former industrial Northern Wales. Now let's talk about timeline. When does this all come to a head? The honest answer is, it's already started. We're in the early stages of collapse right now, but most people don't recognise it because collapse isn't a single dramatic moment. It's a gradual degradation that accelerates over time. Here's what the next 5 years probably look like. 2026. More councils declare bankruptcy. NHS waiting times hit record levels, forcing more people into private healthcare they can't afford. Energy bills remain elevated. Real wages continue falling. Social unrest increases. Nothing catastrophic yet, just everything getting measurably worse. 2027. First major infrastructure failure, either a regional power blackout, a water crisis in a major city, or a critical transport failure. The government responds with emergency measures and promises to fix things. They won't have the money to actually fix things. People start to realise the decline is structural, not temporary. 2028 to 2029. Economic crisis, either a recession triggered by external factors or a homegrown crisis from unsustainable debt levels. Unemployment spikes. Government debt servicing costs become unsustainable. Serious austerity begins, not the 2010 version. Real cuts to core services. People genuinely feel it. 2030 to 2032. Social breaking point. Protests. Strikes. Possibly riots. The social compact between government and governed breaks down. Political instability. Governments can't last full terms because nothing they try works. Each new government inherits an impossible situation and gets blamed when they can't fix it. 2033 onwards. Two possibilities. Either Britain implements radical reforms that completely restructure the economy and society. Painful, but potentially effective. Or we settle into managed decline, becoming a medium-income country with deteriorating services, declining living standards, and increasing emigration of skilled workers. The second option is far more likely than the first. This isn't inevitable. Technically, it could be prevented, but prevention would require political consensus on radical reforms that impose short-term pain for long-term gain, massive infrastructure investment, comprehensive tax reform, pension and healthcare system restructuring, serious productivity improvements, re-engagement with Europe, bold energy policy. These things could change the trajectory. But look at British politics. Does that seem likely? We can't even agree on basic facts, let alone radical reforms. Every proposal gets attacked from all sides. Nothing substantial can pass. We're trapped in political gridlock while the underlying problems get worse. So what do you actually do? If you're watching this and thinking, okay, I understand the problems, but what's my move here? Let me be very direct. First, recognize that you cannot rely on the state for your future security. Not pensions, not healthcare, not social care. Plan as if these things won't exist in any meaningful form by the time you need them. That's not pessimism. That's realism based on the math I've shown you. Second, build geographical optionality. If you've got skills that travel, research where else you could live. I'm not saying definitely emigrate, but know your options. Know what the requirements are. Have a plan B that isn't hope things get better in Britain. Countries that are aggressively recruiting skilled workers. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, several European countries. They've got their own problems, obviously. Everywhere does. But they're not facing the specific combination of crises Britain is facing. Third, invest in portable assets. If you own property in the UK, that's fine, but recognise it's very illiquid and very local. You cannot easily convert a house in Birmingham into anything useful if you need to move. Diversify into assets that move with you. Stocks, particularly international stocks. Skills and education that are globally recognised. Professional networks across borders. Fourth, build resilience. We're entering a period of potential energy, water and infrastructure disruptions. Having some level of personal resilience, backup power, water storage, basic emergency supplies, isn't prepper paranoia anymore. It's sensible preparation for likely scenarios. Fifth, community matters more than ever. If things do deteriorate significantly, strong social networks become critical. Know your neighbours. Build relationships. Communities that work together survive disruptions much better than atomised individuals. Sixth, protect yourself from financial collapse. Don't keep all your savings in UK banks. Diversify across institutions and jurisdictions. Consider some holdings in harder currencies or assets that preserve value during currency devaluation. I'm not saying buy gold and hide in a bunker. I'm saying don't be completely exposed to UK-specific financial risks. Seventh, invest in your health now while NHS services still exist. Get the knee surgery before waiting lists hit 3 years. Get your dental work done. Address medical issues before the system degrades further. Your health is an asset that pays dividends throughout your life. Eighth, if you've got children, seriously consider their education with an eye to international mobility. Languages, STEM skills, internationally recognised qualifications. They need to be able to work anywhere because Britain in 2050 might not offer them the opportunities they need. Let me be clear about something. I'm not hoping for this. I'm not accelerating it. I'm simply recognising patterns and extrapolating from current trends. Every data point I've shared comes from official government statistics, mainstream economic research, or observable reality. The UK could change course. Technically, we could elect a government that implements radical reforms, accepts short-term pain for long-term restructuring, and pulls us back from the brink. It's possible. But I can't plan my life based on hoping politicians suddenly become brave and competent. I have to plan based on what's most likely to happen. And what's most likely is continued gradual decline, punctuated by occasional acute crises until something fundamental breaks. I don't know what that breaking point will be. Maybe a debt crisis, maybe an infrastructure failure that can't be fixed, maybe social unrest that can't be contained. Maybe just a slow grinding down until everyone wakes up one day and realises Britain isn't a first world country anymore by any meaningful measure. What I do know is that individuals who see this coming and prepare will fare much better than those who don't. The difference between someone who understands what's happening and adapts versus someone who assumes normalcy will continue is
no future planning, just survival. Young people aren't climbing the ladder anymore, they're clinging to the bottom rung hoping it doesn't snap. Buying a home, forget it. Starting a family, risky. Saving for retirement, laughable. Even the middle class now talks like it's one bad month away from trouble, and bankruptcy, personal and national, no longer feels dramatic. It feels inevitable. The country borrows, spends, patches things up temporarily, then acts surprised when nothing improves. It's like watching someone max out every credit card and insist they're fine because the lights are still on. Back in my day, life wasn't easy, but progress felt possible. You worked, you saved a bit, you moved forward. Now people work harder than ever just to stand still, and even that's exhausting. A nation where its people can't save, plan, or hope isn't just broke, it's bankrupt of direction. And yet we're told this is normal, temporary, part of the cycle. No. This feels like decline with paperwork. The UK isn't collapsing all at once. It's sinking slowly, and most people are already underwater. Cheerio, and I will see you all in the next video.